What's going on, people? My name is Ryan and this is My Free Mind. You lot feel free to chip in into this video. We've just finished watching the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. And I must say, do you know what, yeah? Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, to me, yeah, were like, you know what, as long as they work, there's always hope for love. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of that's how I always saw it, yeah? But then, yeah, they did used to present themselves as couple goals, and as much as I know that every single relationship has its ups and downs, there's a seeming a bit more rooted in toxicity, right? So listening to this narrative, and let me tell you, I'm basing this off, of course, just a 12-minute conversation, right? Now, some aspects, of course, I've listened to some of the other Red Table Talks and stuff. So I'm going to take you on a journey of how I've come to my conclusion, or how we've come to our conclusion, right? So Will Smith, as he referred to himself, was the soft rapper from Philly, yeah? During that time, Jada Pinkett was involved with, or infatuated, or loved, or shared a strong bond with Tupac, the gangster rapper, Thug Life, yeah? Now, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. All I'm saying is, usually, now, in my experience as a life coach, usually, when someone grows up in a toxic environment, they learn a language of love that is predicated on foundations of toxicity, okay? Now, unfortunately, and this is no fault of their own, but unfortunately, what happens is they learn where love exists, toxicity exists, or chaos exists, right? So what happens is, because of their language of love that they've learned, which is it can only be spoke in a tone of toxicity, when they get older, they search for a relationship that doesn't keep them happy, but one makes them feel comfortable. Now, because you've become comfortable in chaos, you search for relationships that are like that. And usually, the thug life type of person would help confirm that belief or that understanding of love. Now, I'm just giving my opinion. I'm not saying this is the case. But what could have happened there, and Will talks about it, is he felt inferior in comparison to Tupac. But not only could that have been playing a part in this, is that Jada naturally had a thirst for chaos, the adrenaline rush that someone would usually get from being in a toxic relationship, understanding that and that being their home as they go older. Will wouldn't have catered to that natural thirst for chaos, right? He wouldn't have. So, of course, she would have been kind of chasing that the whole time round. Now, where we get onto this whole conversation about August Alsina, from what I know and from what he speaks about, he is kind of rough around the edges. He also has gone through his own trauma, so on and so forth. So, essentially, there is the foundation for a trauma bond, but also the adrenaline rush that kind of comes from the fact that he's so much younger, and, he's got this bad boy image. Yeah, he's an R&B singer, but he talks about straps and all of these things. You get what I'm saying? So what we're dealing with here is a whole heap of things, right? But to me, what it sounded like initially was that Jada Pinkett was essentially exactly what a narcissist looks like, which is someone that essentially harmed you but then blames you for their wrongdoing, and then comes across as, I'm so apologetic, blah, 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 and I know you're hurt, but stay with me anyway, because the world revolves around me. That's what I kind of thought. But then upon hearing the narrative unfold, and then hearing Will Smith say, well, I got my back on you, or I got revenge, and then them do the little touch fist pump and say, cheers to bad marriage for life. Essentially, what I'm now thinking is that maybe Will and Jada have actually had a trauma bond this whole time, where he has gone through his own trauma, she has gone through her trauma, and as a result of that, they bonded around those issues, right? And what they are is essentially a toxic relationship that's kind of covered by eloquently structured sentences around love. So when we listen to them talk, we say, wow, they're goals. But when you look at the core of it, essentially, them being goals is all predicated on this toxicity. I don't know. That's just my view. And obviously, me as a life coach, looking at it from life coach eyes, it seems like there are so many foundations of of toxic, of chaos, which is, of course, deeply seated in childhood trauma. And if you listen to Jada talk, she talks a lot about her childhood trauma. What do you guys think? What do you think? Share your views in the comments. My name is Ryan. This is My Free Mind. Pow, 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 pow.